was a lot of change in pre-season in terms of change of coaching staff, whole new facilities, new ethos. So there's a lot of change, and I think, at least for me, I know, early matches in the season, it's always that you feel a bit tentative because you don't really know how it's all going to pan out. If the team was going to come across as if we were still trying to find our footing, or if actually it was all going to click from the get-go. And I think actually we probably surprised ourselves with the first couple of results. Exeter is always a tough match for us, and likewise with Gloucester, they've always had the better of us for the last few seasons. So to come out and have two, one pretty solid win and then one, where we showed, our grit a bit more, I think really gave us a lot of confidence and a lot more belief even going forward. And I think we've just been able to just play our game, and we've kept things simple. We know our structures, and it's just reinforced throughout our sessions. And I think we're showing what we can do as a team. And I think for me, the best part about how this season has gone is that actually our squad is largely unchanged. Obviously we've had a few big signings, bringing in Abby, Leanne, Hannah West from other teams, but the bulk of the squad is the same squad that were around last season. So it just goes to show what having a new vision, having clear coaching, and having everyone buy in and being in such a professional environment. I think you could almost use our squad as a case study for what can happen if you invest into the women's game and give us what we need and just let the rugby do the talking. So I think we've been able to sort of prove the club right in choosing to allow us to merge in with the men and having that whole one team ethos. So I think that's the best thing. I think now our challenge is, now that teams kind of know a bit more about us and how we're playing this season, are we up to task in terms of grinding out those wins when we're on the back foot, and also just getting through the business end of the season. But I think we'll be solid. I think we'll be good. I'm really looking forward to it. Of the league this season, and obviously I love Bristol and I root for Bristol more than anything, but fundamentally I root for women and I root for women's rugby, and I like seeing other female athletes do well. So seeing how close and competitive the matches are, and seeing other people, new names emerge, outside of the known sort of familiar faces, and learning more about people and their stories and where they've come from and things like that. I love it. And I just think, it's anyone's game at this point. We beat Harlequins beat Sarries beat us. Exeter have done the double against Quins. We beat Exeter. It's up in the air. You can't call any matches, and that's what we want at the end of the day. We want, as spectators, matches that are going to be, enthralling and that you can really sink your teeth into. And then also as players, you want to have those tough moments and those big games, because if you lose them, you learn a lot. But if you win them, that's the magic of sport. Those are the games that stick with you forever. So for me, so I have been in Bristol since I came here for uni in 2013, and I found rugby through being at Bristol Uni. So all I've known is rugby and Bristol. They go hand in hand. So my love of the game is so entwined with Bristol as a city, as a place, and Bristol Bears. That was my first sort of real aspiration in rugby. When I first really started to play, I was like, oh, maybe I could get into the Bears squad one day. So to actually get that chance, that love has just grown over the years. And I love being at Bristol so much, because I feel like I've found my safe space. I truly feel just safe and happy and just comfortable and confident. And over the years, as I've got more confident, I think it's a place where I can really just let my personality sort of flourish, and I'm just comfortable to be who I am. I don't have to hide anything about myself. I can be as eccentric and as loud and as weird as I like to be without fear of judgment. It's a place that I feel so accepted, and genuinely makes me my happiest. And I think that's why I play so well for the club, because when I'm happy, I play well, and being at Bears just makes me happy, even through the tough times. Last season wasn't easy, but what made it worth it was being with the group, being with the girls, and knowing that everyone's in it with each other. When I reflect on 2021, for me it was the year of the unexpected in every way, and I think the Barbarians was just the pinnacle of that. when I talk about something that was not even anywhere near my radar, like I had a meeting with Dave before preseason started, and we sort of spoke about, you know, goals and aspirations for the season, and it was very much along the lines of, you know, trying to, you know, crack into maybe an England training camp, that kind of vibe, and that was really sort of it. Barbarians, like I can't even stress how strongly it wasn't anywhere near my thoughts at all. Um, so one sort of day in October, I woke up to a text from a number I didn't have, and it was team manager Fiona Stockley. She messaged me saying, "Hi Simi, got your number from Dave Ward. Um, I'd like to invite you to be part of the Women's Barbarians team to play against South Africa at Twickenham." And I was just like completely like disbelief, shock, panic, like because I was just like, are you sure, first of all? Because I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, this is all a big facade. Like, I had imposter syndrome really bad. But I was just like absolutely blown away that they even, you know, thought about me, knew who I was, wanted to invite me. You know, it was just surreal. And it was the hardest thing ever because this was at the start of October. I had to keep it quiet until the team was announced on the test match week. So I knew about it for honestly a good 6 weeks before anyone else, like other than like Dave and a handful of other people. Yeah, I knew about it for absolutely ages. And it was so difficult to not say anything. That's why I wasn't going into work, because I was really scared of catching COVID and not being able to play. So I just didn't go to work because I was just like, I don't want to sabotage myself. And every match we played after that, I was like, please don't get injured, please don't get injured, please don't get injured. So yeah, it was unbelievable to even be asked to be part of the squad. And getting there, even now, I still don't think the week as an experience has really sunk in for how special it was and how pivotal I think it's going to be in my career. And I think I'm going to look back at that week and the lessons I learned from all the players that were there and the experience that I had. I think I'm going to look back, you know, when my career is finally over and realize that that was a big changing point for me. Because it just showed to me, like, even though I feel so brand new still, and you know, I really did have like imposter syndrome because, you know, I'm sat next to Katie Daly-McLean on one hand, Rocky Clark on the other, Mo Hunt's across from me. Like, I was just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, these are seasoned professionals, experienced, you know, well into the hundreds of caps, you know, for Katie and Rocky. And, you know, Mo has done, what hasn't Mo done? You know, she's just come back from Tokyo. Like, it felt so surreal. But I actually, you know, was able to see so many parallels between myself and, you know, a lot of the girls in terms of the journeys that they've had getting into the game, you know, the challenges they faced along the way, but then actually hearing their success stories and hearing about all those incredible experiences they've had was just, you know, lit even more of a fire into my rugby, like, sort of aspirations and things like that. And also getting to know people on that personal level, you know of people, but you don't get that chance to actually get to know them. So it was just so special on so many levels. It was really emotional. I cried so many times that week just from like sheer like joy. I was overwhelmed. I was nervous. Every emotion made me cry. But then, you know, to get to Twickenham and the circumstances that surrounded that day and how chaotic it was, and us taking centre stage last minute, and it was just bonkers. It was like the embodiment of what Barbarians is, just chaos, fun. Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously getting the win, getting to score, having my family there, priceless. It was honestly, I can't even talk about it properly. It leaves me speechless. Like, even, you know, thinking about it still. If I talk about it for too long, I'll start crying again. Like, honestly, it was just such a special week. And, you know, if I never do anything, you know, else, if that's the pinnacle of my rugby career, which I hope it isn't, but if that is, like, I'm happy. Like you say, it's a bucket list thing that, you know, not many women, like female rugby players, have achieved, you know, so it's very special.